Today, I want to tell the story about three different women who, from the outside, looked like they all had different problems with their business. And when you dive in and actually look at it, all three people had the exact same problem of why they weren't making more money in their business. So, first, there was me. I was running a multiple six-figure business and couldn't make more money. Then there was another client who owned a brick-and-mortar business, again, stuck at multiple six figures. And then another client who's a solopreneur, service-based business, and she was stuck and could not make more money. And so today we are talking all about why your business is 80% energy, 20% strategy. And I know that might really surprise you because I would say that the average business coach would tell you the opposite, that it's 20% mindset and 80% strategy. But I actually believe it's the reverse. And I have a lot of evidence to back that up. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Because it is my belief that your business doesn't need another funnel. It doesn't need another marketing tactic. It doesn't need another strategy. If you have a six-figure business that is doing well, you already have a proven strategy that's working, right? We're not talking about businesses that are brand new, that aren't making money consistently. I'm talking about established business. And I am not anti-strategy. And also, you will find multiple people who will contradict themselves on strategy. And if you work with any of them, you will get results. Because strategy A could be amazing and work for you, and strategy B could be amazing and work for you. There are so many different strategies, and strategy is not the thing that makes the biggest difference. The thing that makes the biggest difference is the energy behind the strategy. And that's why your business is 80% energy. Typically, when we're looking at scaling and we're only looking at strategy, it is because we have a belief that more effort will equal more money. There's something that we're not doing. And when we do that thing, when we put in that work, we are going to get more money. And is that true? Well, it could be. Absolutely. You can try something and do it very well, and it could pay off. And also, if you want to create a business where you are not on a hamster wheel, where you have more freedom, where you have more quality time in your life for the things that you love outside of your business, which I'm going to guess is why most of you, if not all of you, created a business and became an entrepreneur, then you don't actually want to do more, because then you're always going to be having to do more to make more money. And that's not scalable. You can only do so much, which is why this belief that doing more will give you more money is not serving you. Your business shows who you are. It is a reflection of your energy. So if you're burnt out, if you're tired, if you're exhausted, if you're overextended, you're forcing things, your business is going to mirror that. It's going to have that same scarcity energy. But if you're in flow, if you're aligned, if you are embodied, your business is going to expand effortlessly. And here's what I find when my clients find me. Most entrepreneurs are over-strategized and under-resourced. You can have all of the best marketing tools. You can have a great funnel. You can have perfect offers. You can have the best website. You can have the best services. But if your energy is in scarcity, if it's in hustle, if it's in fear, if it's in any low vibration frequency, it's not going to convert. And if it is converting, it's not going to convert at the rate at which it could be. If we look at me, when I had a successful business and I was really struggling, the business made money and I still struggled. Personally, it was doing okay because I was doing all the things. And when I started doing less and shifted the energy, that's when the business started to build, increase month over month, setting records. And that's because of the energy of me as the business owner putting energy into the business. And this is what happens with my clients. Your nervous system, your energy is your most important business tool. Because when you are regulated, when you are aligned, when you are clear, confident, you make better decisions. You attract dream clients. You're able to charge more, you're able to accept more, and the universe will deliver more. So I want to tell you about a client of mine who had a record sales month by just shifting her energy. She was burnt out when she found me. She was exhausted. She was doing all of the things, and she was doing good. She was making good money, and she wasn't where she wanted to be. So we started working together, and we worked on the energy behind the work. Because were there things to clean up in her business strategically? Yes, 1,000%. And also, she didn't have the energy for that, because the energy that she had was so depleted. And the energy she was putting into her business was not the energy from which she wanted to manifest, from which she wanted to create her ideal business, her dream life, her dream revenue. So here's what we did. We worked on shifting the energy behind what she was doing, the little things behind the emails. Things like if she wasn't getting and responding to clients, that was a decision she made, and she didn't need to beat herself up over it. It's just, okay, my response time is much slower than I want it to be. I want to, one day, the goal is to get my response time to X time. And also, while I'm not there yet, what is the point of beating myself up? We worked on her finding joy in her life outside of her business. Things that filled her cup up. Not driving the kids to soccer practice, not doing more in her business, but making time for herself. Starting yoga, journaling, taking a few deep breaths, allowing herself to sleep in, allowing herself to take a vacation, allowing herself to just be okay with not showing up 100% in her business because it was fine. It was established. It was going to continue on. And when we did that, she was able to double her record sales month in only a few months of doing this work. Was she 100% better? Was she recovered from burnout? Was she fully where she wanted to be? No. But those little things start to make a difference. And when she noticed that, then it starts the snowball effect. Then she was able to do more of it and more of it. And by working on her energy and not doing more in her business, she was able to start making more money. And then what happens when you make more money? Well, you can hire help. You can do all these other things that allow you to scale even further. And this is why doing more is not the answer, because if you're just looking at strategy to grow your business, if you're just looking at what can I do more of, you're going to create resistance in your body. So there's two opposite ends of feelings in your body when you're making a decision, and there's contraction and expansion. And when you are operating from the thing that feels like contraction, you're creating resistance. And through that resistance, you're not going to get the results you want. Even if you make more money, even if you hit the goal, whatever the business goal is, it's not going to be the way that you want. So for example, if you're looking to scale your business, you can spend more time with your family. Well, the energy of, oh, I'm dreading this. I have to do this. I don't feel good. I'm tired. That's not the feeling that you want when you have your dream business, when you manifest it, when you create it. We can use any word here. So if you're putting those ingredients, those thoughts, those emotions into the business, that's what you're going to get out of it. So we want to start and create our business from a place that feels good. And when we do that, it's so much easier to do more. It's so much easier to work in our zone of genius. Everything just becomes so much easier. And when it's easier and you're in alignment, then you're in expansion. And from expansion, you're able to scale. You're able to attract more with ease. One of the most common beliefs I see in business owners that keeps them from scaling is their thoughts. Their thoughts around doing more, and their thoughts around control. Giving up control is something that is absolutely necessary if you're trying to scale, especially if you're trying to scale with ease, right? Because there are only so many hours in the day, and you personally can only do so much. So one of the common beliefs that I see a lot is that entrepreneurs think that no one is going to do anything in their business as well as they are. So they don't delegate. They keep doing everything themselves. And then when they do delegate, it's the smallest tasks. This is something I did myself. I did so much admin work for years and years and years in my business that when I look back, I genuinely cannot believe that I was able to do so much and get so far. But when I gave away that admin work, that's when things started to skyrocket. That's when I had quantum leaps in what was getting done. There's also this fear of hiring, which goes hand in hand with the delegation, right? Fear of giving up control and giving up control of tasks that are quote unquote important. So usually it's easier for people to hire an admin tasks, things like emails and lower level tasks that entrepreneurs know they shouldn't be doing themselves. But when you get higher and higher up, tasks that are close to what the entrepreneur does, that's when they're scared of giving up control. And also, if you want to build a business, a 7-figure business, you're going to have to give up basically everything at a certain point. Because if you want to be the CEO of a 7-figure company, your job is going to be running the company, not doing those tasks. And this usually hits an upper limit around payroll. So we all have upper limits. And this is a term from Gay Hendricks in the book, The Big Leap. I'll link it in the show notes. And it's basically when we get to an upper limit, to an amount that is our top edge, we shut down. And so this happens very often with payroll. And I see this all the time with my clients. So typically it looks like this. If one of my clients hires someone, they hire someone on maybe an on-call basis, an as-needed basis. And then it gets to the point that person needs to be part-time and then eventually full-time. And that means that they have to guarantee that they bring in X amount of dollars to cover payroll, right? It's obvious and it makes sense. And also, it makes them uncomfortable about the numbers, about the money going out, about the money that they're spending. And this causes them to shut down, to not want to hire, to continue to do everything themselves so they don't have to send X amount of dollars out of their business because, God forbid, they lose this client. They're not going to be able to afford this or that. Then they are scared they're not going to make payroll. So they just stay in this loop of wanting to scale and also not allowing themselves to scale by taking the leap and committing to the payroll, committing to the employee, whatever it may be. There's also a common fear I see of visibility. So the bigger we expand in our business, the bigger we are in our community, the bigger team we have, the more clients we have, the more visibility we have. And when you're visible, then you can be judged. What will people think of you? And it's true. You might be judged. You are going to be more visible. And the more visible you are, the more susceptible to criticism and to judgment. And it's like Brene Brown says in her Man in the Arena speech, which if you have not listened to it or read it or watched it on YouTube, it is a great one, especially for entrepreneurs. I will link it in the show notes. When you're in the arena, you're visible. And that's just the way it is. And if you're not in the arena, frankly, you don't get a vote because it's very easy to sit on the sidelines and pass judgment and criticize. And also, that doesn't take courage. That is not bravery. That is not being vulnerable. Being a business owner exposes you in ways that makes you very vulnerable. That's why entrepreneurship is such a deep dive into personal development. Another belief I see that keeps people stuck in the strategy, keeps them from scaling, is that they're scared to say no to clients. So entrepreneurs are scared to raise their prices because they're going to lose people. They're scared to say no to the clients that drive them crazy, the clients that pay the low rates, the clients fill in the blank. They're scared that the money will stop. And that's totally understandable because they've built their business on this belief. But if you put that energy into your business, you're always going to get that energy back. If you put it out there that you allow clients to treat you poorly, clients not to pay you well, whatever it is, that's what you're going to get. And as soon as you stop saying no to these things and you trust that the right clients will come, that, for example, if you are trying to elevate your clientele or switch your clientele, trust that that is coming. It is going to work out because that trust in the universe, that's the energy that creates results. I had a client who was switching around her clientele completely and moving into basically just having corporations hire her because there was so much more money. It was so much easier for a multitude of reasons. And as soon as she stopped saying no to the things that didn't pay enough, the gigs that didn't feel good, the Items that were too low ticket that they just didn't make sense for her energy. Boom, high ticket client rolled in. Boom, then another one, right? This is what creates that flow, is knowing it's going to come and having the strength, the belief, the courage, the confidence to say no to the clients that are not serving you. And when you start operating from the energy that feels good, you are able to build a business that lights you up and makes money. Because so often when we're stuck on strategy, when we're stuck on doing all the things, being busy, it doesn't actually mean we're being effective. So let me give you some examples. Solopreneurs very often are busy doing all the things. But it's just like I said with my client who was looking to scale, and she just had to decide, okay, I'm not going to answer emails as fast. That's fine. Because being busy all the time was not serving her. If you are exhausted and you tell yourself you have to post on social media, you have to send a newsletter, and you go send it from this exhausted, depleted, I have to energy, that is not going to outperform sending less newsletters, making less content, but doing it from a place of embodiment, doing it from a place of, oh, I'm so excited to share this. This is going to be really valuable. My clients are going to love this. My audience is going to love this. Because alignment is the filter. Strategy is just the vehicle to get you there. But alignment is what makes you magnetic. It's what makes you magnetic to people, to money, to clients, to everything. And when you lead with that alignment first, your strategy is going to get so much simpler. So here's the truth. If you want to scale your business, actually scale it, high 6 figures into 7 figures, you can't grow $1 million business with the identity of a 6-figure business owner. Scaling is not just about systems and it's not about a team. It's about who you are, who you're becoming. And the version of you that got you to where you are right now is not going to get you to the place of $1 million. You have to upgrade your identity. You have to embody the version of you who is living at your next level. So this is why it's not just about the strategy. There's all the systems that you need to put in place to have $1 million business. There's the people you need to put in place, but it's about who you are. What does the version of you who makes $1 million a year in their business, what does she think about money? What does she think about taking time off? What does she think about her worth? What does she think about her time, her energy? How does she spend her time and her energy? What does she say yes to? What does she say no to? What is she willing to release? Because your business will only grow as much as you are willing to evolve. And that's why entrepreneurship is personal development. So I want you to take a moment and ask yourself this. Imagine the version of you living in your scaled business. She's calm, she's clear, she's confident, she trusts herself completely, money flows easily, clients show up, she takes the vacation, she doesn't hustle, she has a team that she can trust, and she feels good about the work she does, what she puts out into the world. She's in her zone of genius. And I want you to ask yourself, what is one belief I need to release to become her? What's one thing that she does that the current version of me is afraid to do? And I want you to do that. And lastly, I want to talk about your nervous system, because your nervous system controls your energy. It is one of your most important business tools, because when you're regulated, when you're clear, when you're confident, when you're embodied, like we just talked about, as the leader you want to be, you make better decisions. You attract clients. Your business doesn't need you to do more. It needs you to be more aligned. You need to shift your energy, because when you shift your energy, you're going to create different results automatically. And then once you have that evidence, the strategy, the action that you need to take, the things that you need to do operationally, marketing wise, they're all going to become crystal clear, and they're going to work so much better for you. Because if you implement a strategy without having the correct energy, it's just not going to be as effective as it could be. And wouldn't you rather do one little thing that takes you 80% of the way there than one thing that takes a lot of your time and energy that takes you 20% of the way there? Of course you'd rather do the thing that takes you further. This is the deep inner work. And it's not as easy as just adding a funnel, as creating a new offer, as hiring someone. And also, it is the work that moves the needle. So my ask to you is this week, What can you shift in your business that will change your energy, that will make you more aligned? Is it cutting one thing that's draining you? Is it adding something that will light you up? What can you change energetically without having to change your schedule, your strategy, anything big? Start small, and you're going to notice that that makes a huge difference. And if this landed with you and this is the work you want to be doing in your business, the inner work, the energy work to actually shift your frequency so you can scale with ease, this is the work we do in Quantum Wealth Academy. Here's the thing. One podcast episode is going to help you 1,000%, and it can only do so much. But if you're ready to do a deep dive and do the real energetic rewiring, that's what we do inside of Quantum Wealth Academy. I will see you next Thursday. That's a wrap on today's episode. If you're still here, I know you're serious about quantum leaping your income, and that commitment is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Here's what I want you to do next. Pick one insight from today and take action on it. Because here's the thing, transformation happens in the implementation, not just the inspiration. If this episode shifted something for you, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. It helps other ambitious, heart-centered women find the show. And if you're ready to take this work deeper and finally break through that income plateau, I'd love to invite you to book a discovery call with me. Because here's the thing, podcasts give you the what, but coaching gives you the how. It's what takes you from, I know what I should be doing, to, holy shit, I actually did it. Head to the show notes or to jillianminter.com to grab your spot on my calendar. Until next week, keep choosing abundance over scarcity, alignment over hustle, and remember, you're meant for more. You just have to believe it's yours.